Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today is another day of me talking about whatever I want. Stick around if you want to hear about it. So, it's Halloween by the time this video gets published, or it's close to Halloween, and I know it's a really exciting month for many people, specifically many Americans. Like, it's a really big thing in America. My sweet mate, she's a huge Halloween fan. Her entire room has been decorated in Halloween stuff. And honestly, it's really, really cool that everyone just seems to be so obsessed with it. I wish I could say the same, but I'm not a big Halloween fan. Maybe it's because I'm not American. Maybe it's because I'm not used to people having such an obsession with Halloween. Maybe it's just because I think it's just a cool way for everyone to be a cosplayer for a night. But me personally, mid holiday. Sorry. You can argue with me in the comments. I'm up for it. But even though I think the holiday's mid, I think it's really cool for artists to like draw their characters and their OCs in these really snazzy outfits like witches and wizards and werewolves and gargoyles and all those other weird stuff and make illustrations of them like I'm doing right here, right now for your viewing pleasure. So from this point in the video, I'm going to be exclusively talking about my illustration process. I'm going to be talking about how I did this and what I was thinking when I did it and some of my thoughts about Clip Studio Paint right now. So if you want to keep watching that and hearing about that, then by all means continue. Like and subscribe if you really like my content. It helps a lot. And let's get right into it. So as we can all see right now, oops, yeah, my software crashed at that very moment. But as we can all see, I'm making an illustration of my OC Melody. It's exactly how it's spelled, it's exactly how it sounds. And this pose specifically was inspired by a random picture I found on Pinterest. I saw it and I was like, that's the one, that's perfect. Now, I'm not one of those people who gets really iffy about people quote unquote stealing your poses, but I know some people do get iffy about that. I don't really care that much. I don't think it's that big of a deal. So, if you think it's that big of a deal, please let me know in the comments. Let's have a little conversation about it. I'm not trying to encourage art discourse, but it's really fun to hear other people's opinions about stuff like that, like art style theft and pose theft and tracing and all this type of things. But anyways, I mean, if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it, but I'm not going to talk about it in this video specifically. I can make another video if you guys want it. Let me know in the comments. Moving on, color selection. Like many other artists, color selection always is a really hard thing for me. It's something that can be very difficult and very complex when you want something to look a certain way and you're not sure how to get it that way. I was not sure how to get it that way in this video, but I took a bunch of random pictures of other people's artwork actually, and I color picked specific colors from those different art pieces, and I decided that I was going to use certain elements of their color schemes so that I could make the perfect color scheme for this illustration. I used her original colors from her reference sheet, but it didn't give off the vibe I wanted. So I decided that I was going to put it off and focus more on the background instead. And of course, I was really confused on what to do for the background, but I decided to instead make it a gradient tool bisexual flag background. But yeah, kind of. And then I decided that I was going to change up her outfit, giving her a more warm yet also cold for contrast color palette, the warm oranges for the Halloween theme with the blue skirt and the green socks because it just gives off a nice little vibe. I decided to go straight into the background, giving it all this texture and all these colors so that I can give it a bit of a depth because that first one was just looking way too cartoony and way too boring for me. And after that, I immediately jumped head first into the rendering. So I'm trying out a lot of new rendering styles, a lot of new color styles, and I'm taking inspiration from lots of artists on Twitter. And I could link them if you guys wanted to know them, but for now I'm just going to talk about the illustration. I learned a lot of things from other popular artists like Likelihood Art, and I really spent a couple weeks just staring at her illustrations so I can figure out how she shades certain things like skin. And I took certain elements of her shading process into my own, but for the most part I stuck to what I felt is like this high contrast style of taking colors that have absolutely nothing to do with the character subject in question and then making them a part of the subject. So she has gray hair, right? Grayish, creamish, whitish hair, very pale hair. It depends on what lighting she's under. But for the sake of the high contrast look I'm trying to go for, I decided to go for a highly deep purple shade. Same thing with the green stockings, purplish red shade. Not because I think that was what it would look like in real life, but because it looks good. It literally just looks good. I also did the same thing for other places such as her scarf, her hat, and many other things as we will continue to see in this video. The next part of this video, of course, will be the finishing touches, the highlighting, the alternate shades, the saturation, everything that I love at the end of an illustration. It feels like a little reward when I'm done second guessing literally every single thing I've done, so I can finally get some sparkly stuff in there. So I've recently fallen in love with using these little line textures, and although you cannot see them in HD quality in this video, unfortunately, you can see them on my Instagram, on my Twitter, on my Pinterest, and on every single app where art is shared. And I mean every single one. Maybe even Artful. And this is gonna be a quick note. If you remember Artful, you're old as shit and you are too deep into the art community. But also if you remember Amino, you're traumatized. Anyways, we're going to keep on adding textures because what is an art piece if not just a little bit of delicious textures in there? I feel like the before and after pictures for this image is just so incredible. You can see it again on my Instagram and Twitter. But the before and after for the textures versus the no textures are just day and night. It's literal day and night. So we're coming to the end, and right before I close off this illustration, I decided to add some little bit of pieces here, like little pieces of texture and alternative and just something a little different to give the illustration just a little bump, you know? So I decided to bump the edges, I guess. I decided that I was going to change the background so it would have a blur on it to make it look like the OC, Melody, was speeding through the sky. And I thought that would give it so much more appeal because when I did that, I looked at it and I felt like I was a passenger, like I was also speeding with her and we were just watching the clouds back together. So obviously I'm mentally ill. But yeah, I decided to increase the saturation on the subject matter. Melody, my dear. I am way too in love with this character. I don't know why I keep talking about her like she's real. But yeah, I decided to put some little bumps in there and some hearts in there because I don't think it's a Melody illustration unless there's some hearts and stars because she really is that girl. And now we're reaching the end. If you got to this point, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening to my mindless little rambles. If you want more of stuff like this, make sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. It really helps. And of course, I hope you're having a great day, a great week, a great life, and maybe a great Halloween. Like maybe a great Halloween, possibly, hypothetically. Thank you again for watching. And here is another video that you can watch just in case you're feeling just a little bit curious. Here you go.